Welcome to session 4. We're going to start with in a seated position today. So if you prefer to sit on a block or something just to keep the hips a bit more relaxed, then just place a block or cushions or something underneath you. Now I'm going to start with the arms and shoulders. So we're going to focus on something called dumb waiter. So the elbows are just going to drop in by your sides. You're going to open up the chest slightly without gripping anywhere into the spine. Just relax the hips and the back. And then just placing the elbows softly in and then start moving from the hands and elbows. So dumb waiter is a movement around the shoulder girdle. So we do a lot of things seated where we sit with arms in front of us and computers and driving cars. So the muscles around the chest here get a bit tight. So now we're going to try to loosen them up a bit. So I'm going to imagine I'm placing my hands underneath the table and just gliding the hands along the surface underneath the table. So the breathing here is going to be breath in to open and then breathe out to return, just gliding those hands. So I'm breathing in to open, keeping the elbows just dropping down and then breathing out to come back. So breath in to open and then breathe out to come back. And just think about the head staying on top of the chest and top of the spine and a soft into your back and around your hips, pushing out to the side and then breathe out to return. So we push out to the side softly and then coming back one more time. Breath in and then breathe out and then changing into hip mobility. So I'm going to go into zigzags. So zigzags is moving into the hip socket. So I'm going to start by pushing my knees out, gliding the legs out, return the feet and then glide the legs back in. So just that start first movement. So I'm pushing my knees out, pushing out, turning the feet and then glide back in. Now I can add more, so I can push out into turn out, return and then turn in slightly, knees coming in and then bring them up and then push out to the side. Now to make it a bit more comfortable on hips, we're going to use the hands in a different position. So I'm going to lean back. I'm going to open up the knees. I'm going to breathe out to stretch the legs out, return, pushing in slightly, and then breathe out again as I bring them in. So out to the side, breathe out, breath in, and then breathe out to return. So breath in, breathe out, lengthen, return, and then pushing the other way. So again, open, pushing out, return, and then pulling back in again. So it's a bit of abdominal muscle strength, but also hip mobility. And then come back in, 2 more. Pushing out, rotate the toes, pull the knees back in, and again open the knees, pushing out, return, and then pulling back in again. And then we change position again, coming onto all fours. So I'm just going to change my mat. That was just to make sure I have somewhere to glide. So coming back into your 4-point kneeling position. Now, how do we find the correct position when we are 4-point? So starting fast with the hands underneath the shoulders and the knees underneath the hips, finding your square box underneath. So I'm going to start with my north and south position that we did lying down. So I'm going to stomach muscles pull up slightly, flatten the back, north, and I'm going to go south. I'm going to stick the tailbone out slightly. So I'm going to breathe out, traveling north, and then coming back to neutral, and then turn south. So this is just a movement, soft movement into your lower mid-back and stomach muscles, and then flare. The head and chest and shoulders stay in position. So I'm not dropping my head down as I move. Relax the feet and toes as well. So I'm breathing out, going north, and then breathe in, travel past neutral, coming into south, and then again, one more, and then travel south, and then focusing on shoulders. So shoulders, I'm going to press together, retract. So I'm going to let my shoulder blades press together slightly on the back, and I'm going to lift up and separate them. So as the shoulder blades press together, you can feel the chest and the head are moving close towards the floor. And as you lift, pulling them apart, the chest and head are coming away from the floor. So I'm going to breathe out, find space, and again relax around the knees and hips and toes, and I'm pulling apart. So it's a bit like a press and release here. The arms are staying tall, but try not to lock the elbows if you can. I'm pressing my fingertips into the floor and then glide back up again. And again, we do 2 more. And then float up. And then 1 more, retracting the shoulder blades together. And then lift. And then somewhere in between those two, that is your neutral spine, and that is our start position of 4-point. Now turn yourself into a seated position, and we just focus on what we do when we sit. So placing the soles of the feet together. If you're not comfortable again, bring that block along and then sit on the block. If you're happy where you are, just stay here. Feet further away is going to release some more tension around hips, and the soles of the feet are in a long frog position. So I'm just going to think about, where am I in space now? Am I slumped forward? Am I tucking my pelvis too far forward, so I'm putting a lot of weight into the lower back? Or can I find somewhere in between those positions where I can feel very comfortable around the hip and the front and back working together? And then we start stacking up. So we're looking at the chest and rib cage are going to stack on top of the hip. The shoulders are going to drop down. I'm going to widen my collarbone. I'm going to feel that space with the shoulder blades floating slightly down the back and hands just dropping down onto the knees. Now from here, the crown of the head is going to lift up towards the ceiling. I'm going to breathe into the rib cage now. And I'm going to breathe out, dropping those shoulders a little bit more. And again, breathing in and then breathe out. So if it's comfortable here, stay here. I'm going to slide forward as well now in a spine stretch forward. So I'm going to roll the chin forward and just slide the hands towards the feet if it's comfortable. Otherwise, stay where you are. And then glide back up again, lifting back up into that position. And again, glide down, roll the chest, glide the hands towards your feet, and then lift back up again. So it's a prep for spine stretch forward. So I'm allowing myself to go into that C curve now and then roll the spine forward and then glide back up to the spine. Let's do 2 more. So the chin comes forward, roll down towards the feet and then roll back up to the spine. And again, rolling down towards your feet and then roll back up to the spine. Great. And then bring the legs together. And those are a couple of the different start positions and how to find them. So we got the 4-point, we got the seated positions, and then start building on that.